Good evening, everybody. Welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network Radio. I'm your host, of course, of the Barbershop, Dr. Christopher Salute. Today, we are talking about dating on a budget. I'm just going to go live on TikTok. I'm going to share the show with everybody I could share the show with, and we are going to be with you in a second. I love talking about this topic. I think it's a super important topic to talk about. Let's get going with it. So we're just sharing the show real quick. I'll be with you in a second. If you're on TikTok, please do come give us some comments, all that kind of fun stuff. Watch us live. All sorts of great comments are coming in live lately. We had Cece. So if you don't know who I talk to when I'm talking to Cece down below, is Cece's just running the ones and twos. She's making sure that everything's going off without a hitch, and she's doing a great job. So she's our producer. This is part of the Going Bold Men's Network on Wednesday. So thank you so much, men and women and every other gender out there, for kind of checking us out and being part of who we are. So feel free to comment. Feel free to let us know what you're doing. I'm going to share the show as well. What can I share the show here? I don't know. I don't want to bombard people with messages, but thanks so much for checking us out on TikTok. So today we're going to talk about dating on a budget. What is dating on a budget? And I'm going to be honest, the question that Ken says, I found you. We thank you so much. The question that I started to ask myself, and I don't know, because we gear this show to men, although we do have a lot of women who watch, we gear the show to men. Here's my question is, as a man who typically, and let's challenge this if we need to challenge it, I could be wrong. Part of this conversation, in my opinion, is if you're a man who is traditionally expected to pay for the date, and I don't see any problem with that. Should you even be dating if you are on a budget? If you're not, if you don't have the money and the means to date, right? And we'll talk about how this came about. I want to just share a little bit about what's going on with me lately. As a lot of you know, if you've been watching the show, I've been transitioning my career a little bit. I'm super excited to say that I've decided on a role that I think is going to be definitely for me. It combines a lot of my organizational psych skills, a lot of my people skills, a lot of all that kind of fun stuff. So I think that's going to be super exciting. What else is going on with me? I've got 2 new books coming out this year, which I'm super excited about. One, my publisher is publishing. It's called The College Admission. The second is a poetry book that my publisher was not interested in publishing, which is fine. I'll self-publish it myself. We just got back from our stores today. Our stores in Boulder City are doing really well. Coaching is going really well. I've got a lot of great executive and life coaching clients that I'm loving lately. I believe it or not, Cece, you're gonna laugh. I'm on OnlyFans and I'm on Snapchat Premium. So if you can't afford full coaching, just come on and do some light coaching. It's $10 a month. I got you. So that's super exciting. And as far as dating goes, we just had our last show on dating with intention, and I think I'm becoming more intentional about what I want. I'm starting to find that I'm narrowing my options a bit, and I'm being a little bit more intentional about it. And I think that's super important. And I'm having some uncomfortable conversations, which, if you know me, that's part of the problem that I walked into a couple of years ago, when I wasn't having those conversations, and some people didn't like that. So what's going on with the network? You are watching the Bold Men's Network. We've got a media kit coming out. We've got some great new talent coming on our show. I'm super excited to announce soon that we're going to have a new show. But don't forget, we have a lot of females, women watching the show. Tell your dudes, tell your male friends, come watch the show. We want their opinion as well. So super excited. Before we get into the meat of the topic, I like to take a quick moment of silence. I call it prayer. You don't have to call it prayer, but I do. If there's someone in your life who's special and might need it. I know there are a lot of folks in my life lately who have been going through some health issues. So take a moment, put some positive energy out in the world. And like I always say, look, you don't have to believe in religion. It's not for me to say, but if you believe that everything you've done is due to just your energy and not the energy in the universe, that's arrogant as hell. So come see me, I'll coach you. So let's take a quick moment. That's all we do. So why are we talking about dating on a budget? So why is it relevant, and what's going on? So why it's relevant is I think that a lot of people are doing it. And I want to preface this topic with, I just watched. If you haven't, especially my friends on TikTok, if you haven't seen this terrible date story, just search for. And if you're not on TikTok, just like search, Google it. Um, this beats, in my opinion, beats the couch guy. If you don't know who the couch guy is, it's this woman who, like, I think he's in college, and this woman like comes in and like surprises him, and he's like on the couch with two girls, and it's like very controversial or whatever. This beats that. Okay, this woman tells a story about like one of her worst dates. I wish I could like do it in her like sarcastic tone. And it was before she met her husband. She's like praises her husband for being this great guy. And she starts it with, nobody asked, by the way. It was not like a question. She's like, worst dating story? I'm glad you asked. Like, I'm like, this is gonna be a fantastic date story. So this dude like is like, meet me at my house. They're like 45 minutes from each other. He's like, meet me at my house and I'm gonna take you to dinner. Okay, cool. So she goes to his place for dinner, and he like doesn't have his keys. I'm not gonna. It's like a 2-minute long story. I'm not gonna replicate it, but he doesn't have his keys, so she's got to drive. And he's like, left, right, left, straight, blah blah. So he takes her to. I knew it was going to be this story. I love Elise. Yeah, I don't know her personally. I would love to. She's hysterical. I don't know if you know her, but so she gets to this Taco Bell, and she's like, all right, we're in it, like we're doing this. This is the Taco Bell. And he leans over her at their drive-thru, and he's like, I would like 100 hard tacos, please. And like, so like 100 hard tacos is absurd. Okay, I'm easy $35 at Taco Bell, and I'll house that. They ask me like how many like sporks I want, and I'm all like, just one guy, and just for me. That's an obscene amount of hard tacos. So then obviously he's doing the thing, right? And she's like, you need me to pay for the 100 hard tacos? Now somebody brought this to my attention, because I don't eat that many hard tacos, but like that's over 100. I didn't know that they were over $1 a piece, hard tacos, because that's not what I get. I get like chalupas and stuff. She spends over $100 on this dude's like a freaking taco fantasy. This taco fetish this guy has. So then, I saw the video and I died. Yeah, a lot of people are loving it. She's great. I knew it was going to be that story. So she brings the tacos home with the guy. She left this part out. Magically, he finds his keys and they go into his place. Lives with his dad, and this is my favorite part. She gets out of there quickly, but he empties all the hard tacos onto the table, and he goes, let's feast. And like, that's when she knows this is like the worst. Like, this is the worst. Like, this is gonna be the worst, situation she's ever been in. My ex sent it to me, and I said, don't be this girl. Right. Because like, honestly, she could have been killed. I mean, this guy sounds like a nightmare. But that kind of got me into this, like, obviously this dude was using this woman for some hard tacos. She gathered them up, and kudos to her. She got those hard tacos back. But obviously he wasn't in any position financially. Maybe he was just using her to date. But I started to think about, as we kind of partner up, as we figure out, what we're doing, is this a relevant topic? Like dating on a budget, but also Moni says, I love that she took them back. Yeah, darn right. She should have taken them back. Right. So, the other part of it that I've seen, and this is not as funny, but whatever. I mean, I have a lot of female friends, and a lot of women that I speak to, they do date without the intention of kind of like using it. I've been used before, but for my taco. Oh, Michelle, that's funny. Let me gather myself for a second. I know of a lot of friends who have gone on dates specifically, and they go on dates to get a free meal. Like, and I know that too, right? So like, whatever, play the game, in my opinion. But like, I don't know, just don't do it that often, right? At least hopefully you have some like interest in the person, right? But the taco story, without a doubt, is one of my funny stories. He was referring to the dating app, and I responded with, if you knew how to communicate. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, right, because it was like her first time on a dating app or something like that, right? I don't know. So that's why I think it's relevant. Let's talk about, what it's like to date, when you're on a budget. Should you be dating when you're on a budget? And let me know. Like, here's my thing, and I'll jump into the beef of it. We're going to jump into the movies about dating on a budget um, in a second. But here's my thing, and it's just my own insecurity, security. If I can't afford to take somebody out, if it's a question for me, then I really don't think I belong dating at that moment. Like I don't belong interacting. I'm not a Netflix and chill person. I'm not a, let's do something cheap kind of person. If and I have done a Netflix and chill date, but it's been come over, I'll buy a movie or find something of my many apps that I have, right? Because I'm like, I don't just have Netflix, right? And then like let's cook something, let's snack it up, let's order some food. I've even, I've had some really special people like bring, what's your favorite snack? And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And they bring a snack, that's fine. Not just them as the snack, right? So other snacks. But there are ways I think that you can do it. But my main question is, it wasn't necessarily that I couldn't afford to go out. It was that I was tired as hell. Like, I don't know if you see the bags, right? So let's see. Michelle says, my 20s were a shit show. I had no idea how to say no or set boundaries. Well, yeah, I feel that. I've been there before, and I've been on, I've been there before, and I think a lot of people have been there before. If you are watching us on TikTok, this is the time and place where I say thank you for watching us. But, oh, hi, Sugar. Thank you, Cecilia. This is the time and place where I say, hey, you can check us out on my Shorby. If you have my Instagram, which is right on my TikTok, go right on Instagram. You can catch the next 10 minutes. But if you want to see the whole show, go right on my Shorby. You've got YouTube and Facebook as options. We're live. Or just go on YouTube and just search for either WGSN or The Barbershop Dating on a Budget, and you'll find us there. So we'll see y'all in a second. Thanks for being interactive. That was dope as heck. And I'll see y'all in a second. See y'all on Instagram. And please, if you are just watching us live, just give me a moment, per favor, because I need to get us onto Instagram Live. So we're talking about dating on a budget. And the next thing that we're going to talk about is what I'd like to, I want to get into the movies that reflect dating on a budget. And I thought this was kind of a cool thing because, to be quite honest, let's see, I had trouble kind of thinking about movies that had dating on a budget in them, because no, that's not really exciting. You know what I mean? Like it's not a fun thing to date on a budget. Movies are about Hollywood and doing that kind of stuff. So I think that's it's not that much fun to talk about. But here are the movies that, as we jump in, and if you're on Instagram Live, thanks for joining us. Here are the movies that I thought about when we think about dating on a budget. So I thought about two, well, kind of one and a half. The first movie that I thought about, which I think is super important to pick apart and really to bring it in, is a movie called Loser. Have you ever seen the movie Loser? So if you're just joining us on Instagram, we're talking about movies that revolve around dating on a budget before we jump back into the topic. So the two movies that I want to talk about are Loser and Home Alone 2. So Loser, one of my favorite movies. It's Jason Biggs. Is that his name? Jason Biggs. And I'm sorry, I forget the woman's name. You know what? No, I need to do her a solid. I need to do her a service and look up Loser cast, because you know what? She's great, and I forget her name. It's Mina Savari and Jason Biggs, which is funny, right? Because these two folks, and I meant to wave at everyone, by the way. I hope I did. These two folks were in American Pie, but didn't date in American Pie, but they dated in the movie Loser. So in Loser, they wind up they're super broke, right? And they start dating, and it's a little bit more complicated than that. That's not the whole issue. She's also like seeing a professor, and he's living with these guys who were trying to hurt him and all this kind of stuff. So I first I'm gonna hit up the negative on this movie. Okay. Yes, they're poor, and I'm gonna say that I am so privileged to not have lived a life in college specifically where I didn't have money. I worked, I saved up a lot from all my birthdays and working before college. My dad helped whenever he could. He made me get a job, but he gave me some money as well. I was on scholarship and I could afford to be at that school. So I don't really fully understand what it's like to be, not doing so well financially and be at school. But, and we'll talk about some of the dates they went on, but to that end, you have to have a meal plan your freshman year at any school. And so they were going on these dates that like revolved around like not eating, but like you have to have like and I've worked at universities for 15 years too. At any university I've ever even worked at, there's a minimum meal plan you have to have because they don't want you going hungry, right? So that part was a little unrealistic, right? The rest of it was cool because they were in New York City. And there were like certain dates they would like go steal some honey from like a Starbucks or whatever it was back then. They probably didn't even have Starbucks, from a coffee shop, and then like steal they'd like make a hot tea and like go sit out and have a hot tea. They'd also they'd go like sneak into a Broadway show. So it was cool. Like a lot of it was illegal, but like whatever, play the game. Damn the man, right? So I thought that was a cool kind of movie. Just and what I gathered from that movie was like, you know, you don't need to wow and razzle dazzle to be in love, right? And they clearly were in love. The second movie that I just jokingly added in there was Home Alone 2, when they were both kind of he meets up with the homeless bird lady, and they go to the orchestra, and they get a hot cocoa and they just kind of sit. I keep thinking about like that movie when he like gives her the two turtle doves instead of like a sandwich from his bomb ass suite, and he's like, "Here, I brought you these ceramic doves, like you can eat." Like, what the hell, Kevin? Like give this girl something to eat, bro. Like, you saved your life. You have like 90,000. What about those little cookies in the cellophane wrapper? Like, bring her some cookies, But there was a point in the movie when they go to the orchestra, and they drink some hot cocoa. If you all have some other movies, please bring them to me, because I had a tough time thinking about movies that had that revolved around dating on a budget. So Victoria Thornton, I don't know if these went up, but Victoria Thornton says effort over money, and then Alexis Longano says that one. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll talk about that for a little bit as well. One of the things that I want to discuss about this too. Hey, girl, how are you? One of the things that I want to discuss about this too is why this is relevant for me. So lately, I have been in a situation where I've had to change my budgeting. Something I haven't had to do since I knew what money was. I've transitioned from a different job, and I've moved into a role that makes me a little bit less money, and I'm slowly getting my way back to where I need to be. But, I really started to question myself. Should I be going on dates? Should I be, and more importantly, should I even interact with someone on a dating app if I'm not prepared financially to take them on a date? And I'm not trying to be a martyr here. I think that's an important question for men to ask, because it's rare that, let me rephrase that. It's rare for me to allow someone to pay for their first date. I'm a traditionalist. I want to pay for the first couple of dates. If we get to a point where we're dating, then heck yeah, buy ice cream, pay for, get the tip, take me out. It was my birthday recently. Yes, please get me a gift of dinner and a show or whatever. Absolutely. Or do it on your budget. It's fine with me, but, at the same time, I know that a lot of men don't do that, right? They don't really care about where the money comes from. They're just ready to date. They're just ready to Netflix and chill. Alexa says knew where that was headed. Well, it's relevant, right? It's important. So I think that's an important thing for us to talk about. And I also think it's important for us as a, in a longer kind of, longer way to try to figure out, should you be dating on a budget, right? If you're dating on a budget, should you be dating on a budget? Now, the cool thing is, and we have to end the Instagram in a couple minutes, but so I can't even access my Instagram comments. I put this up on my Instagram comments earlier and said, hey, just give me some cool date ideas. And there were some cool dates on a budget that I loved. And here's my issue with I'm going to pick apart men for a second, because here's my issue with men and their inability to date on a budget. Look, if you ultimately decide that your insecurity is you're secure enough to date on a budget, that's an insecurity for me. When I was canceled a couple of years ago, a lot of people, well, he promised all this money and blah, blah, and he looks like he has so much money. I made really good money, but like, I guess I look like a friggin' millionaire. I don't know. But that's an insecurity for me. I tend to think people like me because I have made a good living. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not. But that's an insecurity for me. So fine, you've decided you can go out and you can date. And you can do it on a budget. And I think that's fine. But I'm disgusted with this kind of Netflix and chill, come over at midnight kind of mentality. And because a lot of guys can't afford, well, first of all, I don't know who y'all are matching with on these dating apps, but if I find another person that says the last 5 people I've dated have been unemployed, and I'm like, you do know that like we're in we have a job crisis right now. Like there's not enough people working. So it bothers me to no end that men are not whatever. My moderacy is showing. Normally I'm liberal, but it just bothers me that that's what men are saying, right? Um, so my point of view is you should date in your love language. Ooh, I love that. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. And on that note, it's 20 minutes on the hour. We do need to take a break for our commercial break. So if it's your first time with us and you're joining us from Instagram or joining us from YouTube or Facebook at the 20-minute time spot or time, we take a quick break. That's how we pay the bills. One day I'll get paid for this too. We'll see how that goes. But we've got some commercials that we put on so that when this broadcasts in Spotify and all the 500 gajillion radio stations, and on that note, if you're watching us on Instagram, this is the time at which we end the show for you, and you can check us out on YouTube or you can check us out on Facebook as well. Just go search, go on YouTube or Facebook and search WGSN or The Barbershop. And you can put in Dating on a Budget or my full name, Christopher Salute, and you can find us there. You are watching WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network Radio. I am your host, Dr. Christopher Salute. You are watching The Barbershop. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we're going to finish up on dating on a budget. Should you be doing it, and how do you do it? See you in a second. Okay, and we're back. Welcome to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network Radio. I'm your host of The Barbershop, Dr. Christopher Salute. Whoa, said that so quick. Dr. Christopher Salute. Dr. Christopher Salute. You're watching The Barbershop. Tonight, we're talking about dating on a budget. Talked about some movies that, kind of got my attention with regard to dating on a budget. Talked about why I think it's super important to discuss this. And now I'd like to start the second part of the show with some of the comments that I received when posting this on social media. So I first asked, do you have some dating horror stories? One says, guy made me buy my own movie ticket, then bought $20 worth of snacks for himself. So I think that's kind of funny and also terrible. I have one. He didn't have his license yet, so I picked him up. We go to the Olive Garden and the wait was, let's see. It doesn't seem like I can, there's more to that. This one's from Katie. So Katie, feel free to give me all the rest of that story. Then I went on and I said, give me some inexpensive date ideas, right? So let's say you decide dating is for you on a budget. What are some inexpensive date ideas? And here we go. Christmas time, drive around and look at the lights. I love that. You can even make hot cocoa at home if you can't afford it from a coffee shop. Picnic by the beach, free events in the area. I'll talk about that. Walk in the park, but not a first date. Probably not, unless it's laid out. Driving range, golf, karaoke, cooking together, grilling at a park, doing art together. I love crafting. I want to do a crafting date. Beach picnic, hike, arboretum. Love that. Coffee, picking up sandwiches and having a picnic, watching the sunset. Went Dutch, fine. Waitress automatic. This is a horror story. Hold on. Went Dutch, fine. Waitress automatically split the bill in half versus by order. Fit thrown. That's funny. She also, this is my roommate Jackie. She also says, desert picnic and drinks under the stars, low impact intensity walk, hike, museum, drive-ins. I love it. I want to go back to free things in the area, and then we're going to talk about what the experts say. I'm on a great ticket app. If you're in Las Vegas, I don't know if other cities do this, but this is called LV House Seats. I'm sure other cities have similar programs, big cities. I didn't know about this till I got to Vegas. You have to have a Vegas residency license, right? I paid something stupid, like $180 for 2 years. And I got up to 4 tickets. You could do a cheaper version. You get up to 2 tickets. But for me, if I have friends in town, you get up to 4 tickets at like any show. By the way, they don't pay me to do this, but I'm going to look it up right now. By the way, this show is brought to you by the Whimsy app, by Bold Holdings, which owns Bold Media, and by Bold Solutions, which is my life coaching company. So thank you so much for watching. But look, I'm on the app right now, and there's everything from comedy to the Chippendales, if you wanted to bring a date to a Chippendale show, to Sarah Hester, music and comedy, Fabulous, the show, 27, a musical adventure, Forget to Remember band. I mean, there's Las Vegas Lights. I'm definitely checking them out. That's a great they're the soccer team here in Vegas. So there's like a ton of stuff that you can go check out. And before COVID, there were a lot more. I mean, there's a lot more stuff that you can check out. It's just COVID's kind of made things a little bit more challenging. So there's a lot of different ways that you can date on a budget. My question just becomes, but does that mean you should date on a budget, right? So I have 2 articles here. The first is on medium.com, okay? And it says, you're too broke to date. You're too broke to date. Should men be dating if they're in debt? Well, I've been in college debt my entire life. So if that were the case, I should never have dated. And maybe I shouldn't have, right? So let's see. What they basically say is, why is it that when a man and woman go out, the expectation by and large is that he pay for the meal? Why are love and pursuit of its friends seen as only a prize for the highest bidder? I disagree with this. I think that a man should be able to pay for a date. I just do. I don't think if he wants to date, I think he should be able to pay for a date. And we'll go through some inexpensive dates that don't involve sitting on your couch and trying to get some. It probably comes down to, are you dating to date? Are you dating for a relationship? Or are you just trying to get laid? Because if that's the case, there's like an escort service in every city, but maybe you can't afford that either. So they close it with, it's basically very much, if you're a man and you lack this basic necessity of money, it's almost as if you can't even enter dating. Let's say grown women are the bars you love to visit and spend money in. Without money, you can't afford to pay entrance into them, so to speak. So you're regarded as an underage adult trying to sneak his or her way in. It closes with, so men, the next time you think that things are like moral fiber, hard work, and creativity are more important than the finest wines and steak from the newest restaurant, check yourself. Remember the words of a noted urban philosopher and her friend who once uttered, "Where the bag at?" Obviously, this is sarcasm, but I don't know. I don't disagree. Look, I'm not going to take somebody on a first date to like a fancy steakhouse, but I'm going to take them to at least a $50, $60 meal, and I think that's fine. Or a movie or something. Movies themselves are super expensive. So, Cece, we've got a couple of comments here before I jump into the next article. Let's see. Timmery says, Netflix and chill is more about the casual hookup culture, not so much about the economics. I'm going to challenge that, Timmery, because I was casually dating for a couple of years, but I always bought dinner or like went to something. Like went to do something. Cece, feel free to leave that up. I want to answer Timmery's question. My date, how do I say this? It felt a lot better for me and for my date. It felt a lot more natural, and I caught a lot less crap because I was casually dating, I did typically sleep with somebody on the first date, but I paid for a nice dinner. And so maybe I was dating the wrong people, but they seem to mind a lot less. I don't know. So I push back a little bit. I agree with you that yes, it's more about hookup culture. I was hooking up. I was very upfront about the fact that I was hooking up, but I took you to dinner first, or to a show, or dinner and a show, you know? So let's see. Alexa says, then why isn't it the same for women? Don't date a man if you can't take care of yourself and just expect him to pay. Yeah, again, I do kind of agree with that, but for some reason, it's a little bit more okay for women to do that, right? Mana says, my rule of thumb usually is whoever asks to go on the date pays. Oh, I would love that because I get asked out a lot, and I don't get offered to pay. Most people who comment and like ask me out online are like, what, take me out. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not how that works. Shiravia says, date with purpose. Find someone who is seeking the same thing. Date someone in your season of life. Yeah, I would agree with that, 100%. There's a couple here too. Having to hunt you down on Facebook to keep watching. Oh, that's funny. Thanks, Shiravia. Ingrid says, guy I went out with had a full meal and 2 drinks. I had 1 drink and he wanted to split the check in half. I disagree with that. I hate that. But yeah, men do that, right? And then Netflix and chill is more about the casual hookup. Yeah, I don't even know. I can't. If I'm inviting, so I go with Mana's rule specifically. If I invited you to a date, there's no 50-50. There's nothing like that. You know what I mean? And there are ways to get creative too. Like I've had dates where I'm like, hey, do you want to, or it's not, I'm a dominant guy, so it's not really a do you want kind of thing. It's more like I'll pick you up. And it'll be something like, hey, let's go get coffee. Let's go get a soda and do this free event. Let's go. Shoot, I'm in Vegas. Let's go downtown and people watch on Fremont. New York City, you know how many dates you could do? I mean, I did that. Let's go to Times Square. Let's get a soda or whatever your drink of choice is. If you're a drinker, you walk around. There's bars on Times Square with outdoor seating. Let's just people watch the heck out of this. Let's go to the M&M store and pick out our favorite M&Ms. Oh, here's a movie I forgot. Shoot, no, none of y'all caught it. I'll catch it. Good Will Hunting, where they went on their first date, Minnie Driver and Matt Damon, and they get sandwiches at like some local sandwich shop, but they look damn good, and they kissed. I don't know if you remember, but they like kissed during the while they were chewing, and she has that like beautiful accent. I think I got some of your pickle, But before that, they went to like a magic shop, and they just like played around with toys. I don't even think they bought anything. I've done dates where I've gone to a thrift store. I had a great date. Went to a huge flea market, and this is a perfect date to talk about this. Okay, so I went on a date with someone who the communication was out of control. We were like hitting on all cylinders. Do you like this? Do you like that? What do you do? Great. Oh, awesome. Beautiful. Then we even went into we even got into some intimacy conversations. Do you like this? Do you want that? Like blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, I'm in. Let's do that. So we go to the flea market, and I'm like loving the flea market. We like shop around the flea market. I buy a few things. She buys a couple of things, Then we go to dinner near my house. And I'm thinking the way we've been chatting all night, this is going to be great. Right? We're going to fall for each other. It's going to be awesome. So we go to this pub, and I wind up, I've said it before. I'm not a chauvinist. I'm a traditionalist. First date specifically, I don't even discuss you paying. I will pay. If you put up if you say something, you put up a fight about that, I may offer, like on the third offer, I may offer you could pay the tip. If the date elongates, we get ice cream, you can get that or dessert or coffee or drink at the bar or whatever. To me, I don't know. It's just been important for me. Maybe I need to check my rigidity on that. So anyway, I grab the check. I don't do it aggressively. I just do it. I do it. I grab the check, I pay it, give it to the lady, and she freaking loses it on me. Like, how dare you? And she was a feminist, and I date feminists because I'm a liberal. I've dated everybody. And she loses on me. How dare you assume that you were going to pay for the bill and blah, 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 blah. And I don't know. Maybe I should have looked at the combat boots and realized that was the wrong thing to do. But that was like, it killed it from that point on. Like I couldn't get past it. And to be honest, I probably should have came back at her with a more understanding demeanor, but I was so angry at the defense that she made me feel about just being a traditional guy and like what I thought was being a gentleman, that I was like, I don't know what you want me to do here. Like I think I offered her to pay the tip, and here's my assumption. I don't think she had cash on her, and Venmo didn't exist back then. So she wanted to put her card down to pay for something. And I was like, all right, well, like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, see ya. Never went anywhere after that. And like, we really could have, I feel like, hit it off. So I know Cece's got some comments here, and I know you've been putting them up. Let me scroll back up here. I'm sure you put them all up already. So we hit up Alexis's, then why isn't it the same for women? Share via date with purpose. Miss Timmery, I get your point. What I'm saying is that people are less interested in actually dating versus the hookup culture. Very little effort from the beginning. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Again, and yeah, 1,000%. I think it might have been the type of woman I was dating. Nobody seemed to care when I was buying an expensive dinner and casually hooking up. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe it's just who I was dating at the time, right? But I agree with you. Nobody's putting in the effort. 1,000%. Here's my thing, right? I have to eat. Like, I'm hungry. So, like, all right, one entree at a restaurant's $20. Two entrees is $40. Is it really going to kill me to spend another 20? The tip's going to be almost the same, right? It's going to be a little bit more. And I love cooking dates. So if I have to cook a meal, I'll cook 2 meals, Victoria, honestly, the dates where a man gets creative and doesn't have to spend money can provide more of an authentic experience and really tells you a lot about the guy. I agree with that, right? Whether it's, I've done dates where it's, let's pick up a couple of snacks. Let's hit the hot tub. Let's hit the, let's go to a park. That kind of stuff. I had a date where I brought my dog and they brought their kids, and it just wound up being, not a great date, but learned that pretty early on. Not a great date, right? Victoria Thornton, yes, anyone can spend money on a nice meal. That's cool. But what does that mean to me? Yeah, I feel that. And we're going to go through some creative ideas in a second. I had a date take me to a library to do a scavenger hunt. He bought me a book. That was all the money that was spent. You're reading my mind. So the libraries here in Vegas are the best libraries that I've ever seen. And I'm from New York City. Okay. Well, I'm from outside of New York City. I want to go on a library date. You can rent for free. You can rent a quiet room. And I want to see, you pick 5 books, I pick 5 books, then pick 2 for me, I'll pick 2 for you. Like, let's see where we're at. Like, let's get some movies from the library. Those are free. The libraries by me have coffee shops. You can get some coffee, you can get snacks. There's a bookstore you can buy books at. There's free magazines. Like, yes, all day, let's go to the library. Yes, people watching and casually strolling is the absolute best. You never have an awkward silence. Yeah, there's plenty of time to talk and relax. I love it. Lindsay says, all about traditional standards. Thank you. Ingrid, I just remembered a good and expensive date. I'm always on the hunt for the best. Al Pastor tacos. Oh. So on the second date, he took me out to a taco truck, and we overlooked the harbor on Long Beach, probably $25. Now, is that Long Beach, California, or Long Beach, New York? Probably Long Beach, California, because I'm from Oceanside, and we have a Long Beach right next door. I had a date like that. I was dating this person. Oh, we had such a great connection. We dated for 8-9 months, probably. Actually, right before I met my ex-fiance. So didn't last. It was in California. Okay. She was transitioning roles. She was transitioning jobs. Oh, you grew up in Queens. Okay, cool. Bet we're neighbors, or were at one point. She was transitioning roles. She was smart. She was capable. She just was having a rough patch. And for a couple of months, she wasn't working. And I remember she was like, I feel badly that you've been taking me on dates. And at that point, I was at the top of my game financially and professionally. So I was making good money, spending stupid money, which I shouldn't have done that. But I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, I got it right now. Like, if when you have it, it's fine. So she wanted to take me on a date. And I was like, okay, fine. So honestly, one of the best dates I had been on to that point. She takes me to her favorite like gyro place. And if you're not from New York or you're not Greek, gyro is what you call gyro. She takes me to her favorite Mediterranean truck right outside of her apartment, like 2 blocks away. We get the food. And it was funny enough, it had some sentimental value because we had met at a club like a couple of blocks away. And I told her to come get pizza with me that night. And she couldn't make it. Her friends wouldn't meet us for pizza that night. And the pizzeria was like right next to it. So it showed me she lived like right there. So it was kind of serendipitous. She takes me to her favorite taco truck, or I'm sorry, excuse me, her favorite Yido spot, Mediterranean. We get some Mediterranean food, and it was a Tuesday night, so it was buy one get one free movies. So she gets 2 tickets to a movie, and so the whole date probably cost her like $30, but it was a damn good date. And I don't know if she planned it this way, but because we'd eaten the Mediterranean food, I wasn't hungry for snacks. So and I knew that she was in the place that she was financially, so I wasn't going to ask for snacks anyway. But I wasn't hungry for snacks, so kind of a great date. But yeah, there's a lot of great things you could do when you're on a budget. So I want to hit up as far as Al Pastor tacos go, Ingrid, you want to check out. I don't even know the name, but there's a line out the door every single night. It's in Vegas. It's right at the top of the strip, right next to the Strat, right across from the new what's the new casino, Resorts World. I haven't had them yet because I can't wait in that line. I have ADHD. I'll kill someone. But if you can wait in the line, it's a delicious Al Pastor taco from what I hear. So I'm in complete agreement that creative dates are wonderful. I just think creative dates are great, not because you have to, because you want to, right? I think if you're not, and it comes from this. It comes from if you're not where you need to be financially, you're probably not ready to date, right? It's probably not. Ingrid says I'll have to try it. Yeah, definitely. So let's see a couple of dates. So this is on RamseySolutions.com. This is actually a financial website, which is great. I mean, that they're hitting up dating. So let me move this over so I can see if there are comments at the same time. I mean, they've got 45 of them. So let's just hit up a few of them, right? Let's see. Hold on. Browse at a bookstore. Love it. Browse at any store, right? Like that magician shop. Browse at a candy store. Shoot, I'd say something like, and I've done this. I've done this with partners that I've had for a long time. I'll say, you got $5 and I got $5. Pick out the candy that you think best suits me, right? So going solo, creative dates are great because you can actually put some thought into it. I agree with that. There's a difference between being creative and being broke, right? If you're creative because you're broke, again, that's just kind of where I have that problem. Believe me, I've done creative dates. I love having creative dates, crafting dates. I'll tell you, I went on a date a while back, and we had been seeing each other for some time, and I said to them, "It's time." She'd wanted to be intimate, and I had put I tend to try. May not believe it or not, you may believe it or not, but I try to put the brakes on when it comes to physical intimacy. Doesn't always work. So 2 or 3 dates in, I said, it's time. I'm ready if you're ready. Of course she was ready because she'd been trying. I said, come over. And I went full on dominant. I said, come over, wear something cute and comfortable. make sure you're, ready to roll. I said, we're going to hang out outside, fire pit, and I'll bring in food. Well, I forgot the time of the date was late, and a lot of food places weren't open. I wanted to bring in like something good, like shish kebab or something, and all I could bring in was like Cane's fried chicken. So I'm like unboxing fried chicken in the fire pit, But it was creative. We did some s'mores, we did that kind of stuff. So let's see. They say going out to breakfast, listening to your throwback records. I've done dates where we go to a record shop and buy 1 or 2 records, bring them home, listen to them, whatever. Watch a sunset or a sunrise. Yes. Celebrate the year you met, get married, or started dating. Love that. Take a dance lesson. I went on a date with, honestly, I'll read that in a second. Please keep that up, CC. I want to finish the story. I went on a date with, we went up staying friends. I'll be honest, there was a good 2 or 3 years where I was pissed. I learned more about her as friends than I learned about her when we went on a few dates. We would have been a great match. Like the things she was having to train her new husband because she got married, on intimately wise, I was like, well, shoot, that's we would have been great. So one of the first dates that we went on was because I was like, let's do something different. Like, let's not, she's like, what do you want to do? I go, let's go dancing. Because I used to dance in high school. And I found a salsa dancing lesson in the park. This girl had Latin blood in her. So I'm like, well, shoot, if you're going to be embarrassed, let's just get it out of the way. And we took Latin dancing lessons. We took salsa dancing lessons. And then we did wind up going to Toro in New York City, which is a sushi place, which I didn't realize how expensive it was, but whatever. if we just left it at that, it would have been, fun, inexpensive date. So that was kind of cool. Timmery says, even if you're not extremely well off, doing something outside of a conversation, a conventional date, really shows character and tells you a lot about the person because it takes effort. And I agree with that. So I guess what we'll have to do is do a whole show on creative dates. So back to Ramsey Solution says, hit up a sports game. That could be kind of expensive. I'm going to rule that out. Volunteer together, I like. That's cool. I'm a huge fan of run errands together. That's more of like when you're dating somebody. Test drive an expensive car. That's funny, but don't buy it. There's a place in Las Vegas that you can rent a really expensive, not tropical, exotic car, but it's still expensive. I got a discount because of a certain affiliation I had. So, but even with my discount, it was still like $150 or something like that to rent like a Lamborghini for like 15 minutes. So it wasn't worth it. That's an expensive date. So let's see. So Shiravia says, my love language is touch and time. I don't mind you buying dinner as you sit and talk to me. But with that being said, it would mean just as much to me as if we go to the beach, build sandcastles. I love building a sandcastle. See, I'm a competitive guy though. So I'm going to turn that into like, who's got the biggest sandcastle? Or like who's got the better sandcastle? Like, let's gather up. Like if I'd like to go during the day, let's gather up like a bunch of 6-year-olds and you rate who's got the better sandcastle, and then like loser buys ice cream. Michelle says, my worst date was my first time at the Virgin Megastore. I'd never been to one before, and I felt like I'd stepped into heaven. I completely forgot about my date, and the poor guy was bored to death. That's funny. That's really funny. That's kind of how I was on the flea market date. I just was in my own world. There's one that I want to touch on here that I thought was interesting. Well, volunteer together, I think is cool. So I'm a huge, if you're going to date me, I'm big on volunteering. You need to be okay with the fact that I'm going to volunteer some of my time. That kind of stuff. Michelle says, laughing, thinking of my plus size behind rolling out of a Lamborghini. You could rent a monster truck too, Michelle. So it's right in Vegas. Go for it. I'm sure they have them wherever you're at too, if you're in a major city. This other one I love, go to an open mic night. So I'm a huge poet. I like to do spoken word. So like, that'd be fun. I'd have to really get to know somebody first before I just like bomb them with some spoken word. I love this. Here's some outdoors ones. Enjoy a hike, go for a run together. I'm going to wait on that one. Camp at a state park. Again, wait on that one. Drive to see some leaves. I've done that, driving to see leaves or driving to see Christmas lights. Again, you want to be comfortable with somebody before that. Go berry or apple picking. That's an inexpensive date. Visit a public garden. Coffee, concert in the park. I did a great concert in the park a couple of years ago. Walk a nature trail, feed ducks at the pond, visit a garden center. And the other thing that they probably are not, and then these are cheap date ideas for staying in, eat takeout by candlelight, cook together. Yep. Picnic on the floor. I love that. Make drinks and sip on your patio. I used to do that too. Play board games. I had a Monopoly date. We really learned a lot about each other in that date. Didn't work out. Improv. It's usually pretty cheap. Yeah, absolutely. Get dessert from your favorite restaurant or make dessert. Use Redbox coupons. When was this article? Take a trip down memory lane, plan a vacation. You're not taking it. That's cool. Plan a vacation. I've done scrapbooking dates, like with somebody I was seeing for a long time. One of the best dates I've ever been on was going to a local MSPCA. Love that. Let's go pet some dogs. Yeah, absolutely. Make some Sundays at home. Binge watch a new show. Sing karaoke. Play miniature golf. Do a taste test. I love that. One of the things that I've always wanted to do is let's pretend we're getting married. Let's go to a wedding hall and just eat all the cake, right? I dated someone too. Using your resources is super important, right? I dated somebody. If you know me, you know my history a little bit. This person at one point was somewhat famous and then didn't have any money because it's none of my business. But she planned a date for me. And she just kind of used her resources. She got us onto a TV show, and we got to sit in the crowd. We got to eat food, and it was a great show. On that date, I will mention, I'm pretty sure Drew Barrymore looked me up and down. So good story for all things going around. No, it was a fun date. It was a really fun date. So she was good at using her resources. That said, I think we got through about half of the 45. But I think we got the point, right? Sounds to me like intention's more important. It's funny, if y'all watched the show before, it was dating with intention. Here's my thing. I'm still good. Normally I like to say that I try to learn and grow on every show. And I did. I learned a lot from y'all, from your comments, and I appreciate you. But here's what I'll still stick with, right? Intention is important. Dating inexpensively because you want to is different than dating inexpensively because you have to. And I'll say this, it's important to make sure that the rest of your life is in order before you start dating in that way. If you have intention to be with someone long term, if you don't, then I think it's just important to make that clear and find the partner that rolls with you on that. I do think while we can get creative with our cheap dates, it's important to make sure that we have the ability to date financially, emotionally, psychologically before we embark on that journey. Do I always follow my own rules? No, I'm an idiot. I'm a man. That's why we have the show, so that we can learn things and screw up and fix it. But it is important, I think, to acknowledge that. That being said, this was one of Cece. I don't know if you're still here, if you're down and doing the ones and spinning the ones and twos, but this I think has been one of the most engaged shows that we've ever had. So clearly, I need to talk about creative dates a little bit more often. So if you were watching, thank you so much for watching. You have watched Going Bold on the Going Solo Network show, or Going Solo Network radio network. This is Going Bold Wednesdays. This is the Barbershop. I'm your host. My name is Dr. Christopher Salute, where we talk about men's mental health. We talk about dating in 2021, or it'll soon to be 2022. We talk about all things men's, topics, concerns, all that kind of fun stuff. I really want to thank everyone for their energy. I want to thank y'all for being here. And that was the Barbershop on WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network Radio. Thanks for watching. Cut.